Alright folks, and welcome back to the channel where we discuss tomorrow's Scottish Cup final as Celtic face Neil Lennon's Dunfermline with a chance to make it a domestic double. We'll also discuss stuff about managerial talk, also discuss Yang's new contract, and also just discuss what has been, of course, a normal reaction to Celtic winning the league on Saturday, a normal calm reaction from Scottish football. I'm joined by Alistair to go over it. Alistair, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, mate. Looking forward to the morning.
Aye, good. I mean, we may as well start because I like to kind of get it out of the way because we've heard it all week. Obviously, there's been a lot of uproar after Celtic's title win on Saturday, and obviously the scenes on the pitch after it. There's been everything from fans of clubs who aren't even involved in the title race wanting the game called off and a 3-0 forfeit and all this sort of stuff.
But
Um,
remember, Josh, the Rangers are coming.
aye. There's also been statements from the SFA, from Celtic, Hearts, whatever. It's been a mental week to be honest with you, Alistair. And I'm glad, obviously, with the audio yesterday. It's for me. It's kind of case closed in terms of the on the park stuff. Obviously, the pitch invasion that's gonna still kind of probably rumble on, but in terms of the actual match result, it's good just to put that this whole notion that the game wasn't finished to bed for me.
Yep. And I just think it shows Hearts, the the poor and bitter losers that they were. See, to be honest, see if see if there's no love lost between Celtic and Hearts. Let's let's no rewrite history here. But I think there would have been a lot of respect if they just said, look, he's beat us fair and square instead of all this bullshit nonsense that we've had to put up with the last. Even even since the Moyle game, Joy, the fact is a club manager come out, Derek McInnes, and started complaining about a decision that didn't really affect him because he was still leading going into the last day, and it just showed mental weakness for me. And I
I
thought,
and obviously, if there's stuff that's happened on the pitch in terms of, I know there's been talk about players being attacked. That's bang in order. I think that's pretty obvious. I think anybody who goes on the pitch to attack players, I would have a look at what you're doing with yourself. To be
it
honest,
needs to be proven, Josh.
I know, but if that is the case, then obviously the relevant
Of
stuff would
course, I
take place and all that kind of stuff. But and that's why, in terms of obviously that will kind of rumble on in the background about if players had been attacked. But I think for me with pitch invasions as well, I think it's up to the SPFL to start bringing in legislation. I seen the day that there was um, and there's been going to be investigations into several games between teams in the league. I think Celtic are in two or three of the investigations about pitch
uh,
invasions. There is, in my opinion, my opinion on pitch invasions is that I I get it, and I get it's the heat of the moment, and it's all about emotion at the games. I'm not a big fan of them. I think that you can still celebrate in the stands, but that's just kind of my hang me. But in terms of
well,
all pitch
can't blame
invasions,
us being the top tier, Josh.
aye,
Really.
probably difficult to get to the pitch for there. But I mean, it's for me the SPFA are going to start bringing legislation. If they really want to clamp down on kind of pitch invasions and stuff.
And,
Um,
and you mate, I mean, if people take it, and I'm not being flippant when I say that, if people take it in their mind to go in a football park, you can't really stop them.
do you want to be honest with you? I get maybe a wee pitch invasion, but when there's hot because there was a lot of fans on the park at Celtic Park, and I understand why because we won the league, and I get it. The only way you're going to really stop it is you say, well, you go on the pitch, we start deducting points and stuff,
Uh,
and I think it needs to be that. If they really want to eradicate it out of the game, then I think they're going to need to start deducting points. I don't know. I'm no pure. I'm no big in pitch invasions, but I'm also no wanting. If I'm no wanting clubs treated really harshly because as you said, Alistair, you can't control every single fan in a football stadium, unfortunately. So
I mean, guys are going to be dicks, to be honest. If it takes it in their mind, they're going to, let's be honest, so you can't legislate for the odd idiot.
and see, to be honest, I've not really got a problem with the actual pitch invasion. I genuinely don't. I don't have an issue with it really in terms of. I know I say I don't really like them there, so maybe contradicting myself there. But in terms of the pitch invasion on Saturday, I don't have an issue with fans maybe spilling onto the pitch. It happens at football games. It's happened Scottish football. It's happened English football, German football, whatever. You go to a football league, it's probably happened at some point. It's just kind of part of the game. The problem, as I said earlier on, that I do have is if players have been attacked, I just that you need to draw the line there. That is just ridiculous. You know, the football players are doing their job. They don't deserve to be attacked. I don't. But so obviously that will kind of rumble away in the background. You'll probably hear if that has been the case and players have been attacked, and obviously the people who have attacked the players, they'll probably get what they deserve to get, to be honest. But the other big discussion point that's obviously been is this conspiracy that the match had not ended, all this sort of stuff, and as I said, it's been heightened by a team that their team's getting nothing to do with in the title race. I just think it's daft. I genuinely think, people wanting that match replayed because 30 seconds of a game hasn't been played. I mean, come on to fuck. Let's be adults here, man.
If you listen to the audio, they actually played 7 seconds over, but...
let's be adults here. And honestly, because you think you're dealing with children on Twitter at times.
That's when it comes across as you get MPs or lords and
it's just childish. It's just
FIFA and you're like, jeez.
We've had everything. The new excuse, obviously the footage was obviously published yesterday. Now their new excuse is it's been tampered with, it's been edited, all this sort of stuff. And see, at that point, I'm like, there's no point arguing because anything you say to these people on social media and stuff, they're always going to have that mindset. They're always going to have that. It's corruption and the refs are for Celtic and the SFA's for Celtic. They're always going to have that mindset. So, see, to be honest with you, there's no point arguing with them, to be honest with you, because they're never going to change their mind.
If the referees were off for Celtic, how come Hearts only got 1 penalty given against them?
I was listening to Ryan 118 and he said, and I think it was a point on Twitter as well, if the refs are so for Celtic, and this is the last I'll say on it, if the refs are so far as a club, how come Wilfred Nancy, was losing games left, right and centre?
Aye.
Surely the rest would do the best they could to get, make sure Celtic and Wilfred Nancy got the points at Dundee United, got the points at Motherwell, got the points against Rangers, won the League Cup against St Mirren. Surely if the refs are so for Celtic, they would do it. Honestly, as I said, that's the last I'm going to speak on it because it's been mind-numbing. Honestly, I've seen meltdowns in Scottish football.
I can honestly say, John, if you ever ask me to talk about the Hearts situation again, I'm just going to say, do you mind moving on because it's actually...
No, this is the last I'm going to speak on.
It's stunning me, to be honest.
I'll end it on that. Do you think there'd be this whole scale reaction if Hearts scored a 98th minute winner at Tynecastle to win the league?
It's because we ruined the fairy tale.
Yes, it is.
Let's no beat about the bush here.
Aye, and that's what it comes down to. As I said, the pitch invasion I've not got a problem with. The only party I've got a problem with is people...
I mean, let's be honest, we're only 2 groups. supporters wanted Celtic to win. Ourselves and
And
Hibs
Hibs.
fans.
Aye. As I said, if that was at Tynecastle, I don't think there'd be a lot made of it if there was a pitch
The-
invasion.
And they would have been. They
Aye.
absolutely would have been, and let's not be naive.
The media would have spun it as glorious scenes as Hearts win the league in first league in how many years it is, whatever.
That's it.
That's the way they would have spun it. As I said, I've no got a problem. I'm not a big fan of pitch invasions, but I've not got an issue. The only issue I've got is if fans have actually
Especially when you see, and this is the very last thing I'm going to say, especially when you see Tony Bloom at Brighton on the park. Well, guess what? A pitch invasion. And then you see Derek McInnes out with Kilmarnock, pitch invasion. So but you're going to slag or criticise a club, be consistent across the board.
the only thing I will say to that is they'll somebody who was maybe opposing to you about that would say, well, it was after the game. If you aren't honest, and I'm
Apparently
not
the
saying
whistle was blown.
I'm not saying you're wrong or whatever there, but I'm just saying that's what social media might say to that. As I said, the pitch invasion stuff, not a big fan of it. No really got an issue with it. But the only thing I have got an issue with if players have been attacked, because I'm sorry, that's just absolute idiot
No,
behaviour.
that's moronic. That's
Aye,
moronic.
it's just absolute idiot behaviour. But idiots shouldn't take away from what was
I
a
just feel, Josh, that we've no the credit we deserve.
no. That's what I was going to say. Idiots shouldn't take away from Celtic's achievements on Saturday. Celtic won another league title. With the season that we've had, and we've done really well to come through and win the league title. Hearts, in terms of they're going to need to focus on, next season and try to get better. And I think they will get better. And
I
that's
know, can't be honest. I hope they're there to stay because it makes it
aye,
more enjoyable. Obviously, I hope Celtic won more leagues, won more cups, obviously, because I'm a Celtic fan. But it was good no to have. It was good to have a reason to go to FIPA, and
aye,
that was the first genuine split we went into, and you thought every game's hard.
aye. No, definitely, and that's what it should be. And that's the thing. But it also, just because the fairy tale that everybody wanted to happen, didn't happen. It should not take away from Celtic's achievements. But that's kind of the last thing I'll say on the whole Hearts and Celtic game. To be honest with you, because it was last week. But I just felt it was important to kind of say because it's been an absolute pain in the arse all week, to be honest. But no, moving on to Saturday's game. It's the Scottish Cup final. Martin O'Neill versus Neil Lennon. Celtic versus Dunfermline. Chance for us to make it a double. I mean, the task is simple. For me, it's just trying to keep that momentum for last week into the cup final, and obviously no being complacent because it is a lower league side. I think complacency, as long as we're not complacent, I've got a good feeling we'll get the job done.
I definitely, man. The only thing I will say is I hate kind of cup finals like this because let's be honest, yeah, and I know one situation
Aye,
if you beat
Celtic
them,
have got everything to lose.
aye,
If we win the game, always expected. If we lose it, it's so it was kind of similar to Inverness. We played Inverness a few years back.
aye. Although genuinely, I think if memory serves me, that was the most comfortable. Something tells me that was a half-5 kickoff, and I
It
Saturday
was
night,
it was a
aye.
late kick out for some reason.
And I think it was because of the FA Cup final. But
Alright.
don't ask me why. But as I say, man, I just don't like these kind of cup finals. I would rather play. I would rather have played Falkirk. No disrespect to Dunfermline. I think Falkirk would have been a better game.
Look, I'm going to look at this way simply, and this is not me be disrespectful to Dunfermline. We'll come out to Dunfermline in a minute because I think Neil Lennon's done a fantastic job at Dunfermline, considering where they were when he took care and stuff like that. I will come out to that in a second. But if it was Falkirk, if it was Dunfermline, for me, there's no excuses. We should be beating both
No,
sides.
no,
No disrespect to Dunfermline or that, but that's just the facts for me, and that's what Martin O'Neill needs to be drilling into them. Um, he's have done he's done a lot harder things this season. No, I'm not saying this is
especially
going
the
to be
last
easy.
8 games. Aye,
I'm not saying this is going to be easy. You know, Neil Lennon will have them film ready to can fight and set up pretty well and stuff. But they've, look at the last 8 games. They've won. Was it 8 games on the trot when they had to win?
aye,
So they're being used to that feeling of you have to win. So they need to just carry that over. Also for a lot of players, and I don't want to bring this up because it's generally horrible. It was last year's Scottish Cup final.
you're first as well.
Aye, and it was that's what I'm saying. I don't really want to bring it up because it's fucking horrible to be honest. Um, but a lot of these players, I look at Arne Engels and all that. They want to win that Scottish Cup. I look at there's still players here who didn't win that last season when they probably should have, and they want to kind of right the wrongs. Alistair, in terms of Dunfermline, I mean, I actually went and watched them played Partick, which was actually the last kind of competitive game. For first half, they looked okay. Second half, Partick, I don't know, Partick just seemed to take control of the game. But obviously, they have no. That was the last game they played, so I mean, I don't know how to kind of look at this because it is a game Celtic should be winning, but obviously it's not as easy as just turning up and winning.
Yeah, Josh, as I say, mate, depends how you start. Hopefully getting early. The last thing you want is for it to be batty and
An
Stoke
early goal,
start.
Celtic. If Celtic get an early goal, they win the game.
Aye, aye. I mean, because Ingrid already said you've been to Dunfermline. I watched the game you're talking about. I didn't think Dunfermline had great threat up front.
No, I thought a lot of attacks broke down. To be fair, I would agree with that.
So I don't see Dunfermline coming out and playing expansive. He's probably
Aye,
going to set up for set pieces and free
aye.
kicks.
You set up to frustrate probably Lennon.
Aye.
Set up to
He's probably
frustrate.
going to set up to try and do to us what we did to Barcelona.
Aye, just frustrate them.
Aye, frustrating. Hopefully you get a set piece and you can take it.
Aye.
That's probably the way he's going to go.
I mean, in terms of the team, I think most of the team is the same for me, apart from one position.
I'm going to shock you, Josh. I've got a surprise in mind.
For me, Sinisalo, goal, Johnston, Trusty, Scales, Tierney, McGregor, uh, Engels, and Negrin, and then Yang on the left, Maeda on the right, and Iniachu up top.
You see, I'm going to be honest with you, mate. I've got the major. That's probably my team, but with one exception. I start Osman.
I forgot about him actually.
I would
Um,
start Osman.
people might be saying, "Oh, Maeda's been brilliant up front." I just think this has got to be a different game, though. I don't think Maeda's going to have the space he's had in the last 2 games. He's had a lot of
Can I put a
space.
can I put a case for Callum Osman? I would he start he made the second goal and scored the third last
Aye.
week.
No,
I
I could see him. I could see him starting. Don't get me wrong.
I could
Uh,
I would start Yang and Maeda as the two wingers, and I'd play Osman. And knowing that you've got any actual to come
on the
on,
bench.
aye,
I could say it both ways, to be honest. I just thought Taneki wasn't very good
No,
at the
um,
weekends.
I mean,
And obviously Osman comes on and changes the game
this
for us.
isn't this isn't about a squad rebuild, but I've had enough of tonight. I've just seen that back back refusal to take men on all the time, and I've just had enough. Um, I hope, I, hope-
I'm willing to give him one more season. To see
I
if
think we're
whoever.
probably right, Josh. It's just you might put. I probably said this before about players, but I've got a very short leash when it comes to players, as you probably know.
Aye,
And we'll
yeah.
get to one that I'm quite happy to eat a humble pie on with his new
Aye,
contract.
right, I was going to come on to that next. Yang's new contract, make it quick. What is your overall thoughts on it?
I think
About
he's
him getting
earned
the
it. I
aye.
think he's earned it. It's kind of like 3-2-1, the Liam Scales one. I think he's earned it. Doesn't mean to say I want him to be first choice next season, but I think he's earned it. Let's be honest, Josh, you're going to need a squad.
He's earned his place in the squad.
I
I think, and I wasn't Yang's biggest fan either, but if you look at the goals he scored at crucial times for us, you
look
know,
at two Rangers goals. I
uh,
know only one counted, but he doesn't really get the credit for the first two.
the Rangers goals, especially the second one, I just think his overall play, talking about taking men on, he's the only player on the team that does it for me and tries to at least be a bit fearless. You know,
Congrat-
it's
Congratulations
safe.
to him, he's in the South Korea World Cup squad.
Aye. So there's clearly talent there. I've never doubted it's just consistency with Yang. If he can get a bit more consistency in his game, he's clearly got the skill and he's got the technique and he's got the pace, the dribbling skills. He's got all that. Just putting that all together at times and maybe being a bit more consistent with the end product. But you know what? He's earned it for me. I think he's
And let's
you
be
know
honest, Josh, I'll no break the bank.
aye we always moan about players getting contracts who haven't probably maybe earned the early years. But for me, you can't level it at Yang. I think he's been fairly good for us this
And let's
season.
be
And
honest, Josh, people forget his ass was near out the door.
aye, and that's what I was going to say as well. He could have just been, I know, fuck yous, I'm not going to try. But no, he's got his head down and he's by the way, well, it was not in Wilfred Nancy's plans either. As
And
well into the January.
he didn't
So
play all the game.
I know, but he had played out of pure necessity. That's why.
Aye.
It was reported at the time that Nancy was told, like, we'll just look, we'll try and get him a move. But you know what? He's put his head down, and he's focused, and he's a big part why Celtic did win the league last weekend. And I like him. I think he tries, and you know,
Oh, he tries. He definitely tries.
and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think, and you can maybe have technical flaws or whatever, but at least if you show a bit of intent and want to learn and want to try and want to take players on, do you
For
know
me,
what?
Josh, he's still pretty young.
Aye. So overall, I think it's a good. I don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with Yang getting a contract. But no, I mean that is what it is. I mean, get into the summer. He's earned an opportunity to have another season to see if he can keep improving himself and keep improving obviously his ability and whatever else. But we'll see what happens. My last question to you, Alistair, is the fact on the manager. I mean, Jens Bertolascu has moved to Toulouse, so that's that done pretty much in terms of coming to Celtic. Robbie Keane's been sacked by Ferencváros after no winning the
Still
league.
in the time, but I think he would have been sacked as
You
well.
know, so and he looks like he's got to Slovan Bratislava, so it doesn't look let's go on the other one. The only other one is Craig Bellamy, who's apparently we've got a lot of competition to get. I'm going to ask you, who do you think the Celtic manager will be next season?
Well, who 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 I think it'll be and who it should be. I think it'll be Martin O'Neill, but I would have liked a more, and I don't mean this as everybody knows, but I personally think of Martin O'Neill. But I think I wouldn't wake up all raging if Martin O'Neill was announced Celtic manager for next year. But my issue with it is kicking the can down the road. If you were asking me, Josh, I think it'll be Martin O'Neill.
Aye, same here. I think it will be Martin O'Neill. And yeah, again, kind of similar to what you're saying. I don't want anybody to think for a second that, you know, I dislike Martin O'Neill or, you know, he's done a fantastic job for Celtic. You know, he's a Celtic legend. Should have a statue built, all that kind of stuff. And that's where it comes to me. I look at it and go like that, right, I want to remember Martin O'Neill as Celtic manager as that, those scenes and,
That's
you know,
Sunday. Aye.
the full time whistling, all that kind of stuff, on Saturday. My issue is that because we know what this board are like, and I might be proven wrong. I've been proven wrong in the past, and I'd love to be proven wrong again. My big issue is this board going to do its same tricks, where they don't back a manager, they don't give managers support, and before people say to me, "Oh, well, it's Martin O'Neill, they wouldn't dare do that," I would have a look at what the Celtic board have done in the past. They did not back a manager who got us to the knockout stages of the Champions League. They did not back a manager who played some of the best football I think I've ever seen at Celtic, and Ange Postecoglou. They don't back managers no matter how good they are in terms of standing and what their status is at Celtic, because Martin O'Neill is a Celtic legend. And I completely understand. Not if it did go wrong, maybe in the second seat. If he did, stay on, I'm not saying his legacy would be tarnished. And I think Martin will always be a Celtic legend. But my point is, I look at it and go like that. I don't want to take that risk. And of course, if he gets the job, I'll back him. And it's Martin O'Neill, and he's in my opinion, he's earned the job as well. If you want my honest opinion, he's earned it.
We should say this. Me and Josh are like the blind leading the blind at the moment. We don't have a clue.
So is every fan, but that's the thing.
We're just. I'm just going with my gut that I think it's going to be Martin O'Neill, and I think so is Josh. To be fair, no, I want to put one.
And don't get me wrong, we'll get behind them, of course, because that's what I was going to say. He's probably earned the job.
No, the quote I believe he said, "I'd be disappointed if I wasn't in the conversation."
And it should be in the conversation.
That tells me that he wants the job. Because
for me, he's earned it. He has earned the job. If you like it or not, he has.
I would rather. Sorry, Josh. I would rather Martin O'Neill got it than just appoint somebody that we just rush in, and a Craig Bellamy, for example, and a Robbie Keane that would be divisive, and I don't want to go down the political route.
I just don't think he's that good a manager either. I think he's crap. Do you want my honest opinion? I don't think he's a good manager.
He's done well in Europe, but it's the Europa League.
A manager that loses the league with Ferencváros when Ferencváros don't lose the Hungarian league, it's not a good manager to me. I hate to say that.
It's a one-team league at the end of the day.
Nah. See, when I look, and I don't know how big Ferencváros not winning the Hungarian league actually is. They win it every year.
It'd probably be the equivalent of us losing it to Hearts.
So
for
no,
honest.
I've never really been sold. The only one I'm generally somewhat sold is Martin O'Neill because of what he's done in this season. So it probably will be Martin O'Neill. And as I said,
And the
if it,
only good thing about Martin O'Neill was take his age out it, he would he would have he's got an idea what the squad needs
aye, and it's
and he would hold it. And I hate saying this, we've no got time to fuck about.
aye, and that's where the board come in. That's it. He'll know what he needs. He needs a full squad refresh from me, in certain areas, and
Midfield
he'll
strikers.
he'll need to go like that to me. He'll need to go here. I want this. I want that. You better get there and get me it. I don't want people. I just said fuck that. I don't want to fuck about because we can't, and that's the thing. But obviously we'll see what happens. Probably after the Scottish Cup final to see kind of what happens with the managerial stuff. Last thing, Alistair, for the final time this season, score predictions.
You
We've
can
already
go.
won it, so
You can go.
2-0.
I'll go. I'll go. I'll go 1-0. I think it'll be really tight.
Aye.
I've
Uh,
I've been at a lot of these finals, Josh. I mean, maybe I'm getting PTSD with the John Joe Perry.
PTHD, it's PTSD.
Yeah, boy. Aye. Well, I still get I still get that for for the 2007 Cup final where John Joe Perry Doomby scored. And that was honestly the worst cup final I think we've ever won. That I've the misfortune to be at me. It was really bad. And
Aye.
for
No, I
my
think
favourite goalkeeper played for Dunfermline. Guess who that was?
goalkeeper.
Aye, Knuckleball,
Nah, you've lost me. I don't know.
Doris de Vries.
Doris de Vries.
There's a nightmare.
No, but I think we'll get the job done. I think it'll be pretty comfortable.
I
And
hope so, mate. I hope
we'll
so.
get the job done. But no, I'm going to wrap it up there for today's video, and we'll be back with the usual post-match reaction at some point after the game. But until next time, we'll speak to you later, and hail hail.
Hail, hail, folk.